Woo! Welcome to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively situation. Why I don't make more videos about this is because I don't feel and deem it's necessary, because I believe all the information was being carried. But to recap for those there, because most of my audience don't really care about it, but I think they need to. This is a very cautionary tale of what happens here in Hollywood, as this man who's a coming up actor, director, producer, Justin Baldoni. And this is how, when you're not a big name, but you're coming up in the business, somebody more high powered and celebrity status can come along and try to smother you and extort the entire business to get their way. Now, this book that Colleen wrote, it ends with us. She had total faith in Justin Baldoni's vision. Colleen Hoover was right by his side the whole time. She loved everything he was doing with the film. The film and the script was approved by two different studios. Wayfair, his company, Sony, these guys, he couldn't, he was perfect. And then May 8th of 2019, Wayfair decided, okay, let's get involved, his company, and let's get this book made into a motion picture. And Blake Lively is the one that they thought would be perfect for the role. They did not know this would be the worst decision they've ever made, as they partnered with Sony for the project. Blake loved the book and thought this was the best thing to do. They instituted 1% of the film's proceeds and donated to the survivors of domestic abuse. So they negotiated that into the deal. And this was going to be a film to highlight, these positives that life can go on. It's not the end of the world. And Lily Bloom character was done on New Year's Eve. Blake Lively agrees to do the film. Now, Blake wants to be an EP credit. She wants that. And then she wants to actually manipulate herself into position without their knowing what she wants is more control of the film. And in a previous interview she basically says that was the plot she played. Even though most people might not agree with that, that was the realm in which she was going towards. So on May 15th of 2023, Blake Lively starts saying, I need to have my wardrobe a certain way. And they have to start making changes to the script because we has to fit Blake Lively more than the character of Lily. So the person that was doing the actual work, she wanted that person on the set who makes her clothes. She wanted that done. And, Justin Baldoni is like, okay, well, the style of the character is not, this isn't Blake Lively. This is Lily, the character, and you wanted to have them make a custom look for her and go through all these different wardrobes. That's basically her personal collection, from a friend of hers. So the wardrobe department, and she's wearing $5,000 boots. Now they got to write that into the script. Like, how can she be wearing $5,000 boots? There's changes got to be made to the script and the character of Lily. But it's turning out that instead of Lily, we're getting Blake Lively into the character role. So it's more of a problematical push when somebody who has celebrity status, and if she's only 13 minutes away from the wardrobe place from her Tribeca home, she doesn't care. She wants all the outfits delivered to her in her home. Even though she's 13 minutes away, she can't go to the studio. So now they got to bring everything there, and he agrees. Okay, we'll drop all the wardrobes there. So they bring her all the wardrobes, and then, she's spotted outside by paparazzi, and with all the paparazzi taking pictures, they're looking at all the wardrobes and like, oh my God, this is terrible. So Sony is reading the bad press about the wardrobes, and they're chewing out Justin Baldoni. What is wrong with your wardrobes? These are not the outfits he chose. So Sony is yelling at him for Lively and her choice and what she wanted to. We went working on him and complimenting him, saying what a great director he is, and I love your vision and you're so strong in your will. This is a manipulative tactic to try to get Justin Baldoni to continue ignoring everything and taking the heat, and this is going to work, just stand by me. And he's allowing her to do what she wants to do. So he agrees to let her continuously wear these outfits that she's choosing for herself by this own guy who's personally doing it. He's just conceding. So every turn, Blake kept pushing and pushing and pushing. She wants more. She wants all of these things done. She wants more say into the script. And she's not hired for that. She's not in the production credits for this. But it does not stop Blake Lively for pushing for more control. This is what this is about, people. This is how a small name director and writer, no matter how good they are, can be totally ostracized. He has a podcast that he does with his friends, and he talks about positivity, but Blake, with her manipulative ways, always knew how to turn the screws to get things to go in her format. That's what she was always about. She's a manipulator. Enter husband Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds rewrote this script when they were on the rooftop. Nobody knew it until she talked about it in an interview. Ryan Reynolds was secretly working and rewriting the script, a thing Justin Baldoni, who was against it, had to go along with because he did not want to lose Blake Lively this close because it was costing them millions of dollars. His company, after Ryan Reynolds said, hey, you're great. Blake loves it. She loves what you're doing. Just keep doing what she wants you to do. That's how you make it in here. You're going to be a friend of ours. Just trust Blake. All of these text messages, it's trust Blake. You're doing right. Let it go. Let it go down the way it's going down. She directed all of these scenes. He asked about her weight only because he has 2 bulging discs in his back. He had to have surgery on his back. So he asked that for her weight limit. But he knowing that Blake Lively would use this PR thing against him, they felt like, if we say something now to stop what she's doing or anything that she's going through, we're going to be looked at as the bad guy who fat shamed a pregnant woman. It'll be a PR nightmare. So let's just go along with what she wants. Blake knew it, and that's all she wanted to do was get some leverage. She manipulatively turned around and changed stories the entire time. Has been documented from what we've read from the evidence, what we've seen in the video. She have done a spin cycle on her own with her legal team to change it to the narrative that fits her style best. Her complaint, her sadness, her, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. She went and listed all of these different things that were completely inaccurate. And it's all been debunked. All of it. A whole media storm. Right? When there was a Hollywood strike, everything going on, Blake Lively is playing to the people. She's playing a power game. The whole time. Right? Jamie Heath, his partner at Wayfair, right? They keep talking about barging in her trailer while she's breastfeeding, which wasn't true. The text messages showed that she was there the whole time. They had an intimacy coordinator the whole time. And you can see from the text messages, she invited them to come to her room. And when James Heath came there, he came with the producers and everybody else. She was fully clothed and feeding. And they were taking makeup off of her. And she's like, I know you weren't trying to cop a look. He was like, no, I didn't. I'm not trying to look at you feed. But she was fully clothed. So this whole thing is a mess that she's trying to create a narrative. So everyone knew that this was a bad situation with this girl, but they are too far down the road to go back to the beginning and hire a new actor, as she would come out and blame and slander all of them. And she invited everybody there. There's multiple witnesses of people who were there when that guy was in her trailer. He was never in her trailer alone, except for he showed up first when they all was supposed to meet there. And she just happened to be feeding at the time. But she was fully clothed. So now all of these details and all of these things that really matter, she's created because she wants to use this to get her way. She didn't want a complaint. They had an intimacy coordinator on the set the entire time. She never met with the intimacy coordinator, but only wanted to request that one was there. All of this was a manipulative tactic to get more control of the film. That was her choice. That was her decision coming in there. Her deceptive practice was, I need to get control of this film here. This director, this guy, he is a novice. He doesn't have this type of power. I can use my manipulation to get close to him so I can become a director, producer of this film. And what she wanted to do was edit it her way. So Ryan Reynolds is in this meeting. He gets brought along when he's not even supposed to be there. Ryan Reynolds comes in and berates Baldoni for denying her requests for certain access. And he's like, well, she's doing things that's not supposed to be. What am I supposed to do? This is my job. We're paying for this. Wayfair, his company. And Ryan got hot. What? You're going to apologize to Blake? You're going to apologize to B. That's what he calls her, like she's Beyonce. And he just starts to tear into him. The Sony producers there, all the managers there, and he's just going off on Justin Baldoni. And he couldn't believe it. He didn't understand why this is happening. This is what people are talking about. Everyone was living in Blake's world and under her, basically, the grounds of holding someone hostage. Blake Lively manipulated her way into the situation. This is my opinions. These are my thoughts. This is my beliefs based on all the information that has been provided to us. And if you look at Justin Baldoni's case and the situation of the information that's been provided to the general public, the whole public can see it. They have a website where they are divulging everything. You read these messages and you can see for yourself where it lies. So Blake Lively knows at this point, her husband, Ryan Reynolds, is going to bully everybody into getting her way. He's going to take time out of filming Deadpool to come over here and just deliberately go into this meeting and put everybody in check, mainly Justin Baldoni, who didn't want to sign off a lot on what she wanted to do. She was not supposed to be in film editing. Why would I let her in the film editing room, Ryan? You're not going to do what Blake said. If you don't do what Blake says, that's it. for you, buddy. And you tore into him and, show this is what he is. Now, granted, Ryan Reynolds is somebody who's pretty much a bully, in my opinion. I've always looked at Ryan Reynolds as so much of a dick and fart joke type of guy. But Ryan Reynolds, what he actually did was scare the studios into giving Blake control of the film so that she'll be in film editing. Even though she's not contractually hired, she's never had any experience of doing this on her own. Don't matter. It's Blake Lively. We give Blake Lively what she wants. And this is why the scenarios went the way it did. So in the film editing process, you have a guy who, like with Sony and Wayfair, feel like, man, we're being bullied here. We got to go along with her demands, or this is going to be a PR nightmare for us. And she's turning the writer of the book, Colleen, against him. She's turning everybody against him. She doesn't want the cast to be around him, the rest of the cast members. She wants them all on her side. She wants to be in the film room when the editing process takes place. I want to be in the film editing. They have a film editor. Oh, she got the film editor fired, and she wants to be the film to edit the film. So this is what her plan was. I'm going to do two versions. The Blake version of the film, and she brought in Deadpool and Wolverine's guy to help her out, and Justin Baldoni's editing the film on his own. And they gave her 2 days in the film room, which turned into 10. And then she wanted to put it out, and she said, okay, we'll test both of the movies. And she said, if his version is better than mine, we'll go along. I'll drop everything and we'll go along with his. Well, Justin Baldoni's version of the film tested better than Blake Lively's. And she still said no. Reneged on her promise to the studio, to Sony and Wayfarer, about the deal. Now she's like, I don't care. If you don't go along with my film, I'm going to cause a shitstorm. And now Sony and Wayfarer is like, what are we going to do? So Justin Baldoni is paying for all of this. His company, Wayfarer, is paying millions of dollars for all of the demands she wants. And she's taking the movie from him. So now she wants all of these credits on her thing. It's not even his film anymore. It's not even a movie, a James Baldoni film. She wanted that removed. She wanted his name removed off the title of the film. She wants him completely eviscerated of the movie and making it her movie and stealing it from the guy who actually did it after his movie tested well. And Colleen, it feels like she's forced to go along with all of this. She took the writer of the book away from him and tried to make him look like the bad guy. She never wanted to work with the intimacy coordinator. Then she wanted the PGA to give her a credit. And Sony didn't want to do it, but they signed off after the extortion that she would ruin the film if she didn't get the PGA credit. And this was it, saying that she did that and she hadn't done enough hours or the work to ever get credited for a PGA mark. So Sony was like, damn, we just got to sign off on this crap. We don't want to. And this is when James Baldoni's he's had enough. Justin Baldoni's had enough. Wayfarer said, no, we can't do it. There's no way we're signing off on this. We can't. There's no way we're going to be able to do this. So she got mad and said, well, I'll ruin him. And matter of fact, I don't want him nowhere near anything we're doing. She wrote letters of personal confidentiality concerns I don't want him on the red carpets. I don't want him on the events. I don't want him on the flyers. I want all his friends, anybody with him, cut out. Cast and crew, they're with me. This is a bully. He was X'd out of his own movie. He's not in the title. He's cut out. This man should be showing for everything. No more is it a film by Justin Baldoni. Ryan Reynolds, who has no credits, never been hired to be on the film, is getting William Moore's agency to fire and drop him as a client. This is what the problem has been for years. You've had overprivileged, wrong people in power using their manipulation to get what they want. Pushed him off the red carpet, put him in the basement of the red carpet. It was horrible. He had to arrive with his wife, who Blake friended, saying she liked. He had to show up there with his friends and the people that actually made the movie, not trying to cause any waves. They come there and they arrive early on the red carpet before Blake can be there. And when she shows up, the studio producers come over and they said, "Oh, she's here. You guys got to get escorted out of here. She doesn't want to see you." So they had to go into the basement of the place, the literal basement. Now, because of these facts, how embarrassing is that? It's very disrespectful, in my opinion, that he even had to endure such traumatic effects on his life. Because this film is actually, I watched the film, it's a good movie. It wasn't like the greatest film ever, but you could tell there might be a director's cut, his cut would probably be better. You know, you could tell Ryan Reynolds had something to do with this. There's a level of comedy that's been added to this film that didn't need to be. One of the key things in this entire fallout between these two is the fact that he said with the intimacy coordinator, like, let's rewrite the love scenes with the intimacy coordinator. Me and you will sit down with the intimacy coordinator and we'll write the love scenes together. That way it'll come from more of a woman's perspective, you know, so that way, you know, the intimacy coordinator was a female. She said, no, I would rather write it with you. The intimacy coordinator was brought in for you. And you said, I would rather write this with Justin Baldoni with you without the intimacy coordinator. But you wanted the intimacy coordinator who's already on the set anyway, and you never met with him. So what was the point of the intimacy coordinator? Just so she could say that she felt unsafe, that they had to do that. We had to get an intimacy coordinator because I didn't feel safe. She has to say that. I didn't feel safe, so we had to get an intimacy coordinator. Also, she can get control. And once she got in there, and now that interview has come out where she's did it with Vogue or whatever, and she said that, you know, she deliberately, you know, misrepresented herself and said she wanted to be an actress, come in here for a role to act, and then she really wanted to produce to let her do that, so she has to pretend to be the actor at SNL. Saturday Night Live, SNL, guess what happens? Her and Ryan Reynolds show up to Saturday Night Live 50 after they're traumatized by this whole lawsuit and all of this Justin Baldoni that they can't leave the house. They're victims. They're scared. They can't leave. They can't go anywhere. But they go to Saturday Night Live and make a joke about her being sexually harassed. That goes against their lawsuit. Their lawsuit just went up in smoke during the SNL 50. As you see, she's all smiles as her husband gets up there in the SNL 50 and makes a statement and a comment live. And jokes about it, like, oh, what you heard? And they're like, oh, so what's new? Nothing, what you heard? I don't know. You tell me. So you're making light of what you're calling a sexual harassment suit. This guy has been trying to get my wife. And I'm not here to say Blake Lively isn't a beautiful woman. She is Blake Lively, she's, but she's a mother of three that just had a baby. Justin Baldoni's wife, to me, looks probably better than her in this situation. So my thing is, at this point, that's his wife. She's for Ryan, whatever. She can control him, whatever. Blake Lively is used to falling for her co-stars. And in this situation, it doesn't seem like she was falling for him. It's just that she was using her manipulative tactics on him by pretending to be like falling for him and using all this flirty girl stuff that she does to try to gain his trust so that she can manipulate her way into getting what she wants as far as production and in the studio. That's what I feel that went on here. And this SNL skit does not help their case. This proves, oh, she's not going through anything. What happened to the depression? So her lawsuit is capable of being thrown out. So they did a spin cycle now. That's what's happened today. The shocking revelations that other people who have worked with Justin Baldoni, they have filed all of these complaints to human resources about his predatory behaviors. Oh, yeah. And now it's all over TikTok? TikTok? Really? Take a look at complainant number one. Complainant number one starts saying, Buttgate. The complainant says they were traumatized by a verbal account of an incident with director Justin Baldoni. Approached this person and asked them to repeatedly, privately, said that they want to have an orgasm on camera. She asked, why is this necessary into the film? He said, I think we should go ahead and add it. Show me what you got. And the complainant did not feel she had the authority to decline. The complainant told Baldoni that they did not want to do the scene. He told her she couldn't hold up filming by refusing. The complainant began improvising the scene, making what she perceived to be noises of a sexual nature. Baldoni placed both of his hands on her so close that the complainant could feel his breath, causing her face to mist up. Well, what you trying to say? You got hot breath? I mean, if in a love scene, when you get close to somebody, what's the guy supposed to do? Not breathe? I'm confused here. But anyway, he said, you know how hot this is, right? And then she's like, says, Baldoni complained to practice the scene over and over During a restroom break, Baldoni kept his hands on her outer thigh, locking her in place in a very intimate embrace. She relayed. Then arrived at the set, the complainant waved her over where she pointed to Justin Baldoni, broke the embrace. The complainant stating that he was so close to her for so long, his breath on his face was just torturing her makeup and making her makeup melt, and she needed to be redone over and over. Now, she complained to Sony about what had happened, allegedly, right? Now, that's complainant one. Now, we go to complainant two. Complainant two says they became uncomfortable with Justin Baldoni while filming. He put his bare hands on her butt and said he was trying to help her with her posture. She voiced her displeasure of being touched on an intimate part of her body, and Mr. Baldoni responded with, "It's fine. I'm totally hot for my wife," in a dismissive tone. Complainant relayed this to Mr. Baldoni that it did not matter what his relationship with his spouse was like, that he did not have permission to touch her inappropriately. Baldoni then responded, "Oh no, better go see HR," to which the complainant replied, "I will." Approximately 3 hours later, Baldoni approached the complainant and shared he was sorry that they got off on the wrong foot. The complainant replied, "You got off all right, but it had nothing to do with your feet." Wow, sounds like it's written by Ryan Reynolds. Complainant's agent provided the text messages from the complainants, including one sent approximately 18 minutes after the incident, when the complainant said, "Justin Baldoni just literally grabbed my ass in front of the cameras. I want to talk to someone at Sony like now." Now, all of this was redacted, including the date of the complaint and the action taken by them, right? So you can see for yourself. Now, as you can see here, it says, right here, complainant states that she became uncomfortable with Justin Baldoni yesterday while filming. All of this, right? All of these demands. Do you realize something, people? Let me enlighten you. What's happening right now? Nobody, and I mean no one, has taken this seriously. Meaning, Page 6, the Daily Mail, TMZ, no publication has put this out. Not the New York Times, not the New York Post, not the LA Journal, the LA Times. Nobody has printed this. So it gets leaked to social media platforms. Why? Because they don't want to be sued by Justin Baldoni. They don't want to take the chances and risk, because I know for a fact that the people that were going to post it said, hey, let's, we're going to ask some questions from the person that did this. We want to have some questions so we can write it in our article. And they couldn't be provided with anything. So they said, well, we just can't run with this. Page 6 do nothing but post lies. One of my articles ended up on page 6. And it's funny, they didn't even use my name as the source. They were like, and the client and the claimant who made these claims said, I'm like, I'm right here. You could have included me without stealing my entire article and wrote an entire story without even including me. But okay, let's get to it. So I know how they operate. Now, what's even worse on the scene was everything that came into play after the fact. And you might be like, well, what's that? What happened after the fact and what's happening now is that the lawyer is going to dissect this letter and rip it into shreds. Baldoni's lawyer is looking at this. It's like, why are the dates redacted? Why are they taking this approach? So he's doing interviews, basically dissecting this. And she put in an order saying she did not want that lawyer. He hates me. I don't want him to deposition me. You're not in that position. You can't tell the judge, I don't want that lawyer to depose me. He's not your friend. He represents his client. You don't have no control over that. She is trying to exert every power over every situation. You are basically personifying what they are saying about you. Everything that they're saying about you, you're personifying. It's just like what Kendrick Lamar said about Drake. Everything that he said about Drake is being personified by Drake. Drake is doing all of the acts he said Kendrick said about him. And that's what's making it harder for Drake fans to defend him, because he's actually doing the acts. So Blake Lively needs to stop doing more damage to herself if she thinks she ever has a case of winning. You know, going to Saturday Night Live 50 does not show that you're traumatized and can't leave your house, in which you stated. You tried to block them from putting out text messages and information to the public. Why? If what you're saying is the truth, why would you be upset with what they're posting, which was factual, to the general public? Because it debunks your lies. And your real situation comes forward. Now Ryan Reynolds is liable, and you put Marvel at risk because you used intellectual properties to bully and harass by using Nice Pool and having Blake Lively assassinate him and put like 100 rounds in there, blowing his head off in a movie. And make fun that he's a feminist in the movie. But they're supposed to be defending a woman's right, but your husband's making fun of a man who's a feminist. I'm very confused. So monsters like this that are in the industry now that we all know. Most of my subscribers will probably not pay attention to this because they don't really, know or care about Blake Lively or this. But this is something you need to see. This is real news. This is really need to be reported on a major platform and scale, because you're going to be in this situation, unfortunately. One of you might end up being a producer. One of you might decide, hey, I want to go out there and be a director, and some big time actor is going to use their power to manipulate you and make you feel powerless. So Justin Baldoni's fighting for all of the smaller people in this game, saying you're not going to be able to do this anymore to people. That's what this is about. This is bigger than blah, blah, blah. Okay? It's bigger than ego and your friends, and we can shut you down in Hollywood. You can't do anything. This is taking it back to the creators, right? The filmmakers, the actual guys who spend the 18 hours editing and making the films and making them what they are. We're giving them back the power. And we're not letting bullying celebrities use their manipulative ways to get what they want. So this is a major fight. A win for Justin Baldoni here is going to go a long way with changing the way these bullying tactics work. And shame on Blake Lively for using women who have been victimized in Hollywood as a crutch to try to get what she wants, when it has nothing to do with that. It's all a manipulation tactic so she can have more control over something she doesn't deserve and didn't put in the work for. That's what we're fighting for. So shouts out to Kwame Brown, Bus Life, Ticket TV, Dreamers Pro, everybody who's doing it the right way, even though Ticket has went left with this Drake thing. Hopefully, he get himself, somebody can dip him in some holy water and get himself baptized and get his mind back right. But welcome to HDI TV, Sports Talk with Jose Rodriguez. Much success to them, and I'm out the door. And don't forget to go to the Patreon too, where I'm not as nice.